basketball to watch, whatever. So, you know what, you win. But you know, I can understand people who don't concede. So I'm going to see if Andrew, if he does get locked up, if he's going to go through it. Because it is a nightmare to go through.
Well, here's the problem. Andrew is never really drawing dead here because, like I said, Noble Hierarch and a bunch of Exalted Triggers and Bump Spells can allow him hypothetically to break the lock. So you play on.
Fair enough. Sam is going to start off with an Inquisition of Kozilek. Glistener Elf, Pendelhaven, Might of Old Kroza. There's a Spellskite over there. Verdant Catacombs. Looks like a couple more Pump Spells, Mutagenic Growth, another Might of Old Kroza. And look at the land Sam started off with. Sam starts off with a Blackcleave Cliffs and an Inquisition. Looks like a Jund deck to me.
Yep. But one, it probably doesn't matter game one because once Sam's doing whatever Sam's going to do, it's not like Jessup could have played much differently. Yeah. But it is concealed for now. I would expect Sam to take the one Infect creature out of his hand.
Maybe you take the Spellskite. 0 power against Ensnaring Bridge. I don't know.
I like this play. All right, I prefer this play.
All right, he's going to take the Glistener Elf. It's gone. We're heading back Andrew Jessup's way. My favorite thing about Lantern is just this huge unknown quantity in the metagame. Like who tests this matchup? Hey guys, what are you doing on a Thursday? You want to test against Lantern?
Legacy Dredge, much the same deal.
Yeah.
No one will play against you if you want to play that deck, so no one prepares against it, and so people don't have enough understanding of how the matchup plays.
Oh, what a hand here by Sam. Gataxian Probe, going to show a Pivot Needle, a Duress, a Wooded Foothills, and a Gearpow Aether Grid.
Yep.
Pretty clear what he's up to.
Deuce of Clubs, Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, just all the hits in Sam's hand.
The room key to the Sheridan, and who knows what else.
Right.
Let's see what Sam's draw step's going to be. Oh boy, this deck is a hoot. Now, I think his draw may have been Pixis of Pandemonium.
Pyrus? I don't even know what that... Just bring that one up on the screen.
Yeah,
Need a refresher course.
There's Llanowar Waste. I have no clue what Sam's going to play this turn.
Well, I like leading off with a Needle. If Jessup breaks the Verdant Catacombs in response, you can name Inkmoth Nexus, and if he fails to do so, you simply name Verdant Catacombs.
Here's Duress. All right, showed off that grip. Become Immense over there. That was the Mystery Pump spell, I believe. Yeah. There goes Become Immense. All right, now here is Pyrus of Pandemonium.
I just don't even know. I think I have like 25 of these on my Magic Online account. I think it does something for 7 mana. I'm having some vague recollection.
I don't know why Jess was reading. It's pretty,
there we go.
It's pretty clear what it does. Modern staple, 1 mana. Each player exiles the top card of his or her library face down. 7 tap, sacrifice it. Each player turns face up all cards he or she owns exiled with this thing.
I imagine this is just supposed to be another cool caller spell.
Yeah.
The 7 mana part's not going to come to play.
Probably doesn't come up too much.
Yeah.
Until it does. You know who used the 7 mana part of this card? Sam Black.
Well, hopefully we get to that point.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical, but I guess it's not impossible.
This is like Grand Prix Atlanta top 8 all over again. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Jessup searches up a breeding pool, and now we're going to head Andrew's way. We'll see what the next turn brings. Could be a Spellskite here.
And Sam also has a very potent line of play in this matchup with the hand that he has left over. He can put the Needle on Spellskite, and then Gearpower Aether Grid plus 2 artifacts locks out 1 toughness creatures, which Jessup's deck is full of.
So Andrew has made a classic mistake here. A very large error. Now we're going to bring this card back up. Now you know what Andrew did? He looked at the top card.
No, face down.
Boom. Illegal action. Why would you just assume? Each player exiles the top card of his or her library face down. We'll see what the ruling is here on this. What an absurd
The ruling
card.
is Sam is disqualified for playing this deck.
This is just an absurd Magic card.
I want you to head to the airport and get on the first flight back to Madison.
They're cheap flights out.
Yeah, no one wants to watch this. Nobody wants to watch this.
Drew Thoughtseize. See if he's going to cast this now. Yeah, just a warning, by the way. No big deal. Honest mistake. Gataxian Probe, Might of Old Croja, Vines of the Vastwood.
I'm guessing that this is Gataxian Probe. The pump spells are all kind of the same thing. Although I suppose the game's kind of getting to the point where Sam does have to be concerned with Spellskite just going beatdowns.
Yep. Sam's just going to pass. I'm curious what he names with Needle. If he ever plays it this game, I actually don't know what you're supposed to name.
So I think that Sam's trying to hedge his bets a little bit here.
Okay.
If Jessup puts an Inkmoth Nexus on the table, then it's a very easy name.
Okay.
And if the game gets to a point where it needs to shut off the Spellskite to enable the Gear Part Aether Grid on small creatures, I think Sam will then put the Needle on Spellskite. But for the time being, he may as well wait for more information.
All right. Serum Visions, draw a card, scry the top 2 to the bottom here, Will Jessup. Are we going to go normal beatdowns? There's a Windswept Teeth. Pass turn back. Not yet. Not yet. Don't look at that card.
Do not look.
All right, Black will draw. Oh, yeah, I think he drew another Pithing Needle. That means the first one's free.
Test the waters. But with no threat in play, I think it's still safe for Sam to play the Aether Grid this turn and wait for more information on the Needle. Excuse me, Grid is a 3-mana card. Thought it was 2. This deck is a refresher course on some fringe cards.
I don't know, man. With bad commentary, like not knowing the mana cost on the Aether Grid, we're going to have a talk after the show.
Still my bad.
Yeah. The Needle's here. We'll get confirmation on what it's naming.
Jessup here responding with the Windswept Heath.
Nope.
So as to not have that locked by the Needle.
Now it looks like the Needle's going to resolve. Gonna name Spellskite. Had a feeling.
And given the nature of the way this game's going for right now, it wouldn't surprise me if the second Needle here went on Pendelhaven.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because then if Sam draws land number 3, gets the Aether Grid into play, he's got multiple artifacts in play to start shooting down things. But the Pendelhaven doubles Jessup's Clock right now and gives him some protection against the Aether Grid. So it's a somewhat threatening card. This is an issue with the Lantern control deck. Sometimes the hands just don't really go anywhere.
There's a Needle. We'll figure out what this one's naming. Gonna name Pendelhaven. You nailed it. All right. Going to Andrew Jessup. I think Blighted Agent may have been the draw. So I believe Sam Mulligan to 5 this game. Now this deck is just weird. Like he wants to draw land, but I'm sure there's some other cards he wants to draw too.
Mox Opal would be the ideal draw, because
Okay,
that's the 4th artifact and the 3rd mana source.
That's a very good call. Have you played against this one online when you're playing Zoo?
I have.
How'd that go?
Just beat the crap out of that dude. Oh, a curve of cheap creatures and burn. Oh, Eidolon of the Great Revel's a hoot against this deck.
Very hard for them to beat.
Destructive Revelry is delightful.
Also true. Dryad Arbor going to come across for a point of damage. Do not look at the top card. To Sam Black will go. Glimmer Void. There's the Grid. Grid's going to go after Blighted Agent right now. And now Might of Old Crosh is going to save it.
Yeah, he knows that Jessup has multiple pump spells in hand, so he doesn't want to battle this fight on his own turn and take a lot of infect damage.
Yep.
It's the safer way to do it. And now, if Sam draws an artifact the next turn, then he has 4 in play, start doing some real work. In the event that he doesn't draw an artifact, well, he still gets to do work with that 1 mana thing in play and shoot things down with the Aether Grid. It's a good spot. It's a good spot.
It's just causing pure pandemonium out here.
I think Sam may be dead if the draws become immense, but I suspect that Jessup would not be waiting this long.
Now, the draw was a Glistener Elf.
Not great.
Might of Old Croja. Here come the beatdowns. Up to 5 Infect, goes black. The follow-up, there is the Glistener Elf.
And now artifact number 4 off the top here for black is, it just might be too much for Jessup to beat this game.
How's a Pirate Spellbound sound?
Oh, it's an artifact and removal.
Yeah, it's just too much. Kill both of those. Pass the turn back. Oh, he's cinching it in now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dried Arbor going to come across here for 1.
Then Sam can take care of the Dry Arbor. He can also take care of the Spellskite by shooting it for 1 involving the Pirate Spellbomb, then sacking the Pirate Spellbomb. And then Jessup will just have some lands in play against Curse Scroll.
Yep.
And his deck is all one-type as creatures, so we have a sense of how that's going to play out.
Jessup going to play a copy of Inkmoth Nexus. Pass the turn back. Oh, going to get him now. Going upstairs is black with the Aether Grid.
We call this a pivot.
Yeah. Oh, another Spellbomb. Your turn. A motley crew of cards.
I'm going to let you know something.
Oh, yeah?
Sam Black could not be happier right now.
2 over to Andrew Jessup. And now activate the Pixis. It looked like that was an artifact. Uh-oh. Lantern.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see the top cards of each other's decks. Ooh, Groundswell. That's fun. Inquisition of Kozilek. What's the most complicated wrestling submission hold?
That's a great
You think of one?
arm bar.
Yeah. That's move number 1. That's, per the list, that's move number 1. Because right now, Sam Black has assembled a pretty hard lock.
Yeah. Again, we're in the spot. We see this sometimes in pro wrestling too. Question is, does Jessup tap?
Yep.
Or does he pass out?
That's the question.
That's all we got left
Yep.
to figure out here. He's in the middle of the ring. He's going to tap. He's going to tap.
He tapped. That's it. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Sam Black gonna win game number 1 here over Andrew Jessup.
Ah, yeah.
Lantern Control.
Oh, yeah.
Up a game over Infect. As now we're going to go to the sideboards. I'm sure Sam's sideboard is quite a hoot. Andrew's probably a little bit more normalized. So we're going to start there. 4 Nature's Claims. Those will be good. 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Twisted Image, 2 Relic of Progenitus, and some one-ups here in Dispel, Spellskite, Viridian Corruptor, Wild Defiance, and Rancor.
4 copies of Nature's Claim and 2 copies of Spell Pierce. Those are easy cards to bring in, as is the 1 copy of Viridian Corruptor. Given the amount of anti-creature stuff that's going on in this deck and protection effects aren't very good for the matchup, I wouldn't be shocked if Jessup brought in the 2nd copy of Rancor as well, just as another way to speed up the clock a little bit.
Other side of things here for Sam: 3 Welding Jars, 3 Pyroclasms, 3 Sun Droplets, 2 Nature's Claims of his own, a Leyline of Sanctity, a Pithing Needle, a Surgical Extraction, and a Grafdigger's Cage.
I like bringing in the 3 copies of Welding Jar, as he can reasonably expect Nature's Claim on the other side of the table, and Welding Jar plus Ensnaring Bridge is very challenging for Infect to get out of. I also think the additional copy of Pithy Needle is fine to bring in here. All sorts of targets in Jessup's deck.
Well, there are the options there for both players, and they will shuffle up, and Andrew will begrudgingly submit his deck as he has to endure this, at least for 1 more game. Sam Black, as you mentioned, could not be happier up a game with Lantern Control. And something that makes a lot of people happy are cool playmats, which for our regional championships here in Season 1 of the SCG Tour, we've got a doozy.
Now, unlike many of the playmats that we give out during the Open Series, this playmat is limited to the first 200 people who register for their regional championships. So you want to go over to go.starcitygames.com/regionals for more information. First 200 players who register will also get a free foil token.
Now, as Patrick did mention, free and exclusive playmat and token of the first 200 players. Other thing to keep in mind here with our regional championships, now, of course, it's always going to take place on Pro Tour weekend, just like this one will, February 6th of 2016. But with the new setup for the SCG Tour, points are very important. So the only place you can get points are in the main events of the Opens. We have the Classics on day 2 of the Opens and the regional championships. So if you're not qualified for the Pro Tour and you're looking to get to the Players' Championship, like so many are here on the SCG Tour, very important that you do play in this event. You'll see the point breakdown and the money breakdown here. First place, $1,200, 15 SCG points and a qualification to an invitational, and so on and so forth. So again, if you're not qualified for the Pro Tour regional championships, Season 1, February 6th, 2016, go.starcitygames.com/regionals for more info.
And even if you have no aspirations to get to the Players' Championship. You get to qualify for the Invitational with a top 8 finish. And there's a lot of money at stake, $1,200 for first prize and several $100s all the way down through the elimination round. So great tournament to play in. If you're not qualified for the Pro Tour, again, go to starcgames.com/regionals for more information.
Game number 2 about to be underway here between Andrew Jessup and Sam Black. Infect versus Lantern Control. You know what's interesting about this ridiculous Lantern Control deck?
Hit me.
I have no idea what a good hand is.
I think a good hand is one that empties out pretty early and has some way to protect itself from removal. The best hands I've seen this deck get are everything's out early on, multiple lock pieces, and Academy Ruins to make sure that you don't care that much about random shatters showing up over the course of the game.
All right. Like that last hand on Sandman, I was like, this hand's nonsense. I have no idea if this hand's good.
It's very good against certain decks. If he draws that hand against a deck like Zoo or Burn, it's a dead end and it gets killed very fast.
Yep.
If he draws a hand like that against, say, Amulet Bloom, probably dead very fast.
Okay.
But against Infect, Aether Grid, a lot of artifacts, and multiple Pithy Needles, that's about as good as you can draw it up. So Sam, pretty fortunate there. He did mulligan a few times, so he would have obviously been better served by a 7-card hand, but for the matchup, that's about as good as his hand can get.
Now, when you think Lantern Control, it's hard not to think of Zach Elsick, who did win a Grand Prix with this deck, beat Brian Braun-Duin in the finals. But for me, I want to know who the culprit is. Who's the maniac that thought of this?
I don't know. You have to have a pretty deep knowledge of the card pool to be able to come up with this one, because this is a lot of odd pieces interacting.
Not only that, but you have to think of the idea of, oh, I'm going to mill you and lock out your draw step every turn.
It's not the easiest deck to come up with.
I think if I want to kill my opponent on turn 4 via like Wild Nikotl, or Dredge is probably pretty good.
Is Zer's Weirding legal in Modern? This is a serious question.
I believe the answer is yes.
That's the original card that facilitated decks like this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't recall. Is it in, like 9th edition or one of those?
It's one of the core sets.
One of those sets no one knows about.
Yeah, it's one of the core sets. Also, now it makes it difficult because if you're Andrew, you probably haven't played against this deck very much. Maybe a time or two on Magic Online, maybe at the local store, something like that. You probably don't test against it against your brother, Danny. So all of a sudden you have to decide what opening hand am I looking for?
No one tests against this deck.
Yeah.
You're looking for a fast clock, counter spells, and disenchants. That's Jessup's winning recipe here. It cannot be that slow of a hand because Black has multiple ways to either get recurring removal going or lock him out of the game with Ensnaring Bridge.
Well, Andrew's going to keep his opening hand. Sam's going to take a mulligan here. So we'll learn about Danny Jessup's younger brother, number 15 on our season 4 leaderboard, 19 years old from New York. 3 Open Series top 8s on the resume for Andrew. Played baseball as a competitive outlet before an injury turned him over to Magic, and it's a good thing it did because he's fantastic at the game, though he is in a tough spot right now playing against this Lantern Control deck.
And it's a match where even when you win, you still lose.
There are no winners here.
It's just no winners.
Yeah. To be fair, this is the kind of deck if I was playing competitive Magic, because when I learned to play Dredge back in 2010, I played it 7 hours a day, 6 days a week. I had to take the day off. It was very important.
Yeah.
Because it was just too much. But I got to the point where I just knew how to do everything with my eyes closed. And I ended up getting 9th place at Grand Prix Oakland as a result, and that was fantastic and everything. But this is the kind of deck where I'd put the time in on Magic Online.
If you believe that fun is zero sum,
which I do,
this is the deck for you.
Oh, yeah.
If you believe that your fun comes in proportion to the amount of fun you remove from someone else's experience, here you go. They made a deck for you.
Yeah. I would want my opponent to just hate me. That would be the goal. Sam's going to scry here. Top card to the bottom. Where do we start? Just a basic force past the turn back. Llanowar Waste. Looks like it might be an Ancient Stirrings. That'll tie the room together. Maybe. I don't even know if Sam wants to cast it. He's got a Codex Shredder in hand.
Yeah, a lot of routes with this hand. A lot of ins, a lot of outs. I think the tiebreaker here for Sam is that his hand's just light on mana and things to do. There's no guarantee this Ancient Stirrings resolves the next turn, something like Spell Pierce could tag it. So this is the highest priority. Just resolve this first.
Codex Shredder and 4 lands is what Sam is looking at. Now, what's also weird about this deck is what lands do you need? Like, he's looking at a Ghost Quarter, which could take care of Inkmoth Nexus or a Pendelhaven. He's looking at a Blackleaf Cliffs, which can provide red mana. There's no Glimmer Void over there. He's got another Llanowar Waste he could take. There's also a Grove of the Burn Willows, but it looks like he's going to go with Blackleaf Cliffs. Looks like maybe he needs some red mana.
Yep.
This deck is weird. All right, over to Andrew Jessup.
Sam with Welding Jar plus Ensnaring Bridge in hand.
Combo.
So if he finds enough mana, this hand's got a really good route.
Jessup with an Inkmoth Nexus. He'll pass the turn back. There's Blackleaf Cliffs. There's a Welding Jar. Looks like that's going to resolve. Spellskite now. This deck does an insane job at protecting its Ensnaring Bridge.
Yep.
It has Jar and Skite. And now there's the Shredder.
A nice second turn. That's a nice second turn.
4 cards. Basically Affinity out there.
Yeah, the Welding Jar is coming in out of the sideboard in so many matchups because the best case scenario for a lot of your opponents is they just have some Revelries or some Nature's Claims or just some Shatters. Cards that seem like they'd be very good game one. And your Welding Jars are a great answer to most of the good sideboard cards against you. Engineered Explosive is another problematic card for this deck because it really builds up the board. Welding Jar could do some work there as well.
You know what Andrew Jessup probably did? He made the mistake of keeping a hand with Nature's Claim in it.
Yeah.
Big error.
Not going to be good enough here, man.
No.
Trying to beat this deck 20 points through combat is really hard.
Here comes Inkmoth Nexus. Pump it up with a Pendelhaven. Black on 2 Infect. Sam, gonna activate the Codex Shredder. Target me. Do not mill. Bridge down. Sam will draw. Looks like a Pyroclasm, Ancient Stirrings, and an Ensnaring Bridge in hand.
So Sam's got 2 paths here. One is just cast the Ensnaring Bridge. The other is Ancient Stirrings, try to get a mana source, then put the bridge into play. I think that he feels like his position is strong enough here with a Welding Jar plus a Spellskite that he can afford to use the Ancient Stirrings to try to find something high impact instead of using it to find mana.
I think Sam's positioning right now is very, very strong.
Yeah.
That he can just play the bridge this turn because Welding Jar is doing such a nice job of protecting the Spellskite, and both of those cards in combination are doing a nice job of protecting the bridge. I think he's in a great spot right now.
At the end of the day, Jesup's only got 4 Nature's Claims in his deck, and
Yeah.
he might need literally all of them to be able to work around what Sam's doing right now.
Inkmoth Nexus is going to come across for 1. A pump of the Pendelhaven will make it 2. Black's going to go up to 4 Infect. 6 to go for Jessup. But the thing here for Jessup, too, is he cannot activate, or excuse me, he can't cast any pump spells because of Spellskite. And Sam's got all the life in the world to work with. He'll start with an Ancient Stirrings. Time to take a look at the top 5. There's an Abrupt Decay in there, Inquisition, a Pyroclasm, a Tendo Ice Bridge, sure.
Yeah, these decks play 1, like, you know, why not, I guess. It's one of those things that made it into the list the first time around, maybe for good reasons, maybe not. And it's just been grandfathered in.
Yeah.
If it's wrong, it's not by all that much. So,
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Sam didn't take anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just wants to get the bridge
Love
locked.
it. Cast Pyroclasm, nudge.
So when you reveal something, you have to select something.
Correct.
If it's eligible. Those cards from Ancient Stirrings technically never leave. They never enter a public zone. So Sam can elect not to find.
Yep. Says you may reveal.
Yep.
I don't have to. I choose not to.
Imagine if your opponent can prove it, then you have to do something. You have to take a Smiter with Thoughtseize if it's the only one out there.
Nature's Claim going to be cast targeting Spellskite. Welding Jar, that'll save it. All right, 2 more Nature's Claims to go. It is like entirely possible that Andrew boarded in twisted image.
Mm-hmm.
Like because this deck does play Spellskite, so it's there, it's available.
The issue is I feel like Jessup probably has to focus on winning the game as fast as possible, and a card like Twisted Image, which doesn't really facilitate that, may not be something he has the luxury to leave in his deck. He has to bring in 2 Spell Pierces and 4 Nature's Claims at the minimum, and a Viridian Corruptor. So it's hard to leave in a card like Twisted Image, even though you're right, he could leave it in at fairly low cost.
Now we saw Sam target himself with Codex Shredder again, and now here's another Nature's Claim. All righty then. So now here's my question for you. For those that might not understand why he's targeting himself with the milling effect.
Well, he's got Academy Ruins.
Yep.
And he's got other things that utilize the graveyard. Jessup's deck may be able to use the graveyard for effect. He at least has Become Immense and possibly other cards as well. When he gets the lock into place, he's going to prevent Jessup from ever having a good draw step for the rest of the game. So there's no big race to start milling Jessup over. When Sam gets the lock in place, he's going to be able to win at his convenience.
Milled over another copy of Lantern Insight. There's a forest for the turn. He'll just pass the turn back. Does Jessup have Nature's Claim number 3? Not just yet.
Keep in mind, when Jessup destroys that bridge, he has to go for it, because now, with 5 mana in play, Sam can use the Codex Shredder to get back the bridge.
Going to get back a Spellskite to protect the bridge right now.
This is a safer play.
Look at you knowing all the text on Codex Shredder.
I sideboard that card in the draft way more than I should have. I know what that one does.
Here's Spellskite. And now a Pithing Needle. Shut down Inkmoth Nexus real quick. Time for you to find a different way to win, Andrew. Andrew going to draw.
And with that Codex Shredder in play, it's possible Jessup, even though he's drawing slim no matter what, needed to try to do everything in one shot. He couldn't spread his Nature's Claims over several turns here because Sam just got back the Spellskite with the Codex Shredder, and now Jessup's in the same bind.
Gonna draw a card with Pirate Spellbomb, draw the Codex Shredder, and now the top card is Anxious Endurance, and he's locking it in.
Yep. It is cinched in.
Yep.
Jessup is still going to be able to struggle for a little bit here.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't get to the ropes soon.
Windswept Teeth to draw. And you might be thinking, well, Sam has no cards in his hand, so Andrew can attack with the Noble Hierarch. Well, technically that's true. Then what?
Yep, Spellskite blocks and pump spells get redirected.
Yep.
And then your Noble Hierarch dies. And then you say go, I guess? So that's no good.
Gonna play a Serum Visions. So you do get a little tricky here because now you need like the top cards of your deck to cooperate in a weird roundabout way. So yes, Andrew's gonna get the Gataxian Probe. And now he'll get the Scry 2. Sam gets to see the first card, doesn't get to see the second one.
Because when you scry, the cards are still on top of your deck.
Correct.
We know this from Corsair and Temple and so forth.
Now Andrew's just trying to figure out what he wants to do with these two cards. But you don't see the card underneath because the cards are still on top of your deck.
Jessup probably thinking, why did I fly to Las Vegas?
When is the next flight back to New York?
He's 4-0. Ran the table in the standard portion.
Yeah.
Probably still not stoked with his decision right now.
Yeah. All right, Groundswell's going to stay on top from the scrying. There's Windswept Teeth. That's the land. Now just going to pass the turn back. Black will just untap. Draw a copy of Ancient Stirrings. What's next here? Thoughtseize? Blech. Stirrings. Take a look at the top 5. And Staring Bridge is one of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I think the out is blow up the Spellskite, go to town with Noble Hierarch.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the only route left.
All right.
Assuming this enters play.
Another bridge. Pass the turn back over to Jessup. Andrew will untap. He'll get to draw a Groundswell. Viridian Corruptor.
Okay. I mean, he's not going to get to draw that,
Yep.
but that's great.
You can imagine what it'd be like if he did.
Right. Jessup can he can look at it longingly on the top of his deck right now.
Here's Gataxian Probe. Sam is going to mill, and Jessup's going to shuffle. So here's the big plan. The mill's going to resolve first, so he's shuffling the Viridian Corruptor back in, and the hope is that an irrelevant card gets milled over, then a relevant card shows up, and Jessup gets to draw that from the Gataxian Probe. That's the big strategy here. Doesn't seem particularly likely.
No. That's the thing against Lantern. You're never, not never, but you're often drawing to like 0.1%.
Yeah.
So you keep playing.
Yep. Because something could happen.
And Jessup's got enough disenchants in his deck that it's still possible.
Might have Old Crozier down. What's that next card? Vines of the Vastwood. Not you. Blighted Agent is next. Another horrible draw step. So what's next here for Andrew? What's that?
What's next for Andrew?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, let's find out.
Yeah. A Blighted Agent.
All right, great.
See, I knew he was going to make a play. He's just going to pass
What's
now.
next indeed?
Yeah.
What fresh hell is next for Jessup?
Oh,
All right.
Yeah. Another bridge. It's getting locked in pretty deep now.
It is cinched in.
Yeah, it really is. It's a Boston Crab, a crossbar, a arm bar, a crossface.
Yep.
It's really ugly out
Full
here.
Nelson.
Yeah, it's not good. I would ask what's next for Andrew. I'm not sure there's any other play to be made here.
Yeah. You can see one hand looking at the cards, the other, believe, holding his head. We'll get that shot on Jessup here in a moment.
Yeah, it's not pretty. You can definitely attack with Noble Hierarch if you'd like.
Yep, come get it.
There's nothing stopping you. Sam at a healthy 27. Yeah, no more. That's it. Ring the bell. Ring it loud. The winner of this match and still modern champion, Sam Black, defeats Andrew Jessup 2-0. Lantern Control will take down Infect because at some point you have to decide, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm going to go do anything else than this.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.